Hello, and welcome to the first of many demos by me, Scott Rosekrans, for CG Pro. It's good to be here. This is new for me, so thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. So what I have for you today, tonight, wherever, whenever you happen to be, is a quick little demo. So what I did was I've got a motion capture suit, the Xsens suit here, and I got a demo of the motion capture gloves StretchSense sent over to me. And through a series of unfortunate events, we couldn't get the licensing to work out so that I could get them to work in the same program and capture at the same time. But this is a lesson in troubleshooting. So what I ended up doing was I took a capture of the suits on one take, and then I did another take where we did a capture of the gloves. And what I'm going to do is the walkthrough of, ingesting all of that data, stitching it up, and then we're going to export it to the engine. So again, thank you for watching. Happy to be here, and look forward to doing many more of these. Let's go. Okay, so I'm in my house, and I have the Xsens suit, and I'm shooting some capture. I'm trying to capture both Xsens motion capture and StretchSense finger data. So right now I'm streaming live to this laptop, and I'm going to do some action with this suit first because I ran out of USB ports. I don't have enough space on this to capture both the hands and the Xsens suit at the same time. There's also a licensing issue, whatever. We'll talk about that later. The workaround for now is to capture the same action twice, once for the suit, once for the hands, and then we'll stitch it together in Maya afterwards. So here we go. Ready? And this is me, director, actor, everything all in one. Action. You suck, ref. Yeah. Woo. All right. And take. So that's my take. I'm going to do that again now with the Xsens, not with the Xsens suit, but the StretchSense software. There's a lot of senses in these. Okay, so I'm back. I processed the Xsens data, exported it out. I got my FBXs there, great. And so now I'm going to do the crowd motion that I was doing before, but with the hands. So I've got the hand animator from Xsens software here hooked up, and I don't know if you can see it there. I'll be taking some screen recording here so you can see that, but it's pretty good. It's pretty one-to-one. The calibration worked out quite well. And it's looking pretty good. There's a few, issues that come up, but I don't think that's with the hardware or software. I think that's user error on my part. These are new to me. So, and I did the Calibrate Express. So, I'll try a more in-depth calibration later on. But for now, it's just cool to get these up and running and see if we can get some data out of them. So, I'm going to turn on the recording, and that is done here. And I'm just going to go for it, right? So I think what we did was... You suck, ref. Woo! All right, so I've recorded my mocap separately. I've got the Xsens data. I've got the StretchSense data for the fingers and then from the gloves. And now we're going to bring it into Maya. We're going to stitch those two things together, package it up, export it over to Unreal. And so we'll walk through that process as quickly as possible. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the Xsens data. I've got a bunch of stuff in here that I took, I think, let's see, crowd 4. Let's try that one. Let's see what that one looks like. So I'm just going to drag this FBX in here, and we'll take a look at that. Just play it down. That was me hitting the record button, telling the ref he sucks, yelling, pointing, turning it back off. That one's a little short. Maybe we'll take a look at number 5. So I'm just going to grab number 5, drag it right over top of what we already have here, and it should replace all the keys. Thank you, FBX. Shouting, clapping, shouting some more, pointing. Yep, this one's, yeah, that was a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to trim the head and the tails here of me hitting the record button on and off at the end here. So I'm going to grab the main root there. Let's just grab the top node and we'll select the entire hierarchy, and then we'll trim from, I'm going to keep frame 0, so we'll try to maintain that, right? So let's jump in here and we'll just, yeah, we'll try and select this frame 0 for all of those, and we'll pull it off. We'll go back and clean that up in a second. I think we captured it at 240 frames a second, so it's very, very small. Maybe it's 120 frames a second, but there's a lot of subframes in here for this mocap, so there's some stuff to delete there. So we're going to try and maintain frame negative, you know, the T-pose there. So then we'll trim all the way up to, say, here. So this looks good. All of this can go. All right, and then we'll trim the tails as well. We'll pull this down till we're done, and right around here. So yeah, let's kill all of this. Right. And then we'll grab the rest of the keys, and I will hold Shift to make sure that I'm staying flat. Oh, you see what it did there? You can tell as I'm holding Shift and moving them, the tangents are going straight up and down. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to find what frame number they're on. It looks like it's around 21, and we're going to do a plus equal negative 21 to shift those all, hopefully without adjusting the tangents. There we go. That moved them all, and it should start right in the place we need it to. It looks like it's around frame 1, so that's good. It's half a frame there. So we got some, I want to maintain this T-pose here. It looks like there's a bunch of keys stacked on top of each other. Let's go to like frame negative 4, see what that looks like. No? Where is this? Oh, it's all the way back here. Negative 16. There we go. So we have our T-pose, and then it slides in there. Pardon the helicopter. Living in LA, Long Beach, you can't avoid it sometimes. Most times. All right, there we go. So we got our T-pose, and it goes into there. So we'll pull that T-pose a little bit closer. We don't really need it. It's just there just in case, right? Okay, so let's go back to frame 0. Right, so we've got our mocap here. Cool, that is all good to go. I'll set this to the out frame 158. So we got our ins, we got our outs, we got our mocap ready to go. So now let's bring in the hands. And what I've learned about this through a little bit of trial and error here, that I can't just bring in another FBX on top of this FBX. As you saw me earlier drag the other take on top of here, one FBX will just overtake and replace all the keyframes there. So the same thing will happen even though I bring in, you know, a left hand FBX here or a right hand FBX. It's going to try and replace everything, and I'll lose all my animation here. So what I'm going to have to do instead is open another Maya, and we'll bring it into there, save it as an MB, left hand, right hand, and then we'll import both of those into this scene as Maya files, which will not overwrite those keys, right? So I can drag this FBX into this new Maya, and I get the whole hand here. And what I've learned about this StretchSense here is that the keyframes are in I don't think it's timecode based. I don't know exactly what's going on here. They are way the F down here at the end, right? So they're at, let's see, we've got frame 1,254,922. I don't know. They're really far down there. So we're gonna scooch them all as close as we can back to frame 0, and it just looks like pulling a giant ball here from this distance. But yeah, so we're gonna bring these back again. I'm holding Shift to pull them down there. Hopefully the tangents are not breaking there. It doesn't look like it this time. I think this one's a little bit cleaner than the Xsens. So again, let's get these back to the 0 point. There's going to be some trimming needing to happen here as well. They're not going to line up exactly, and that's, you know, one of the downsides. You know, make sure you've got your licensing sorted out and you're working with the latest versions of both softwares. That's what I ran into here with the Xsens software versus the StretchSense. I was just, running on 2 different versions that were incompatible. No big deal. We figure it out, right? It's a troubleshooting tutorial here. We're trying to figure out, what to do, even if you don't have the perfect scenario, the perfect situation, right? So we've got our right-hand mocap data here. Oh, something screwed something up. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to undo that, and we're going to have to go back to, or I bet what really happened is, let me look here. Yeah, it looks, I did not have all the keys, or the joints selected. So let me undo, and we'll try that again. All right, I think we're back. We will select all the joints this time. All the way out here at 1,000,000 frames. Good Lord. This will, oh, and the tangent's changed. All right, so let's do some math here. Let's say we'll just add a plus equal here and minus the exact number of frames. That should bring them back to 0. There we go. Awesome. And it looks like we are fitting in that 0 to 400 range. There we are. Much better. Okay, cool. So, let's see. I don't need the hand geo. Gonna delete it. It's neat. Thank you, StretchSense. Don't need it. I also don't need this time code. All I want is this hand. So we're going to save this out. So I'm going to export this. No, save this. Save scene as. And we're going to go back to my drive here. Oh, where is it? We did it in Zoic. We've got Fox. We're going to Mocap. And we've got... I'll do right hand take 2. Now let's bring in our left hand. And 320. I'm looking for timestamps. And this is another thing here that the exports are all time-based, and I think this one matches up. Take a look at it and see. Find those keys. There they are. Yep, I believe this is the corresponding hand, the corresponding take there. Okay, so once again, I'm going to grab all these keys and we'll add a... Oh, come on. Give me the... there we go. So I'll just add a negative plus equals negative there, and that should zero everything out. Bring them back to the origin here. We'll set this also to 400, and we'll see what that looks like. Where did my keyframes go? Okay, cool. You're going to work once, but you're not going to work second time? What do we got here? Where'd they go? All right, we'll try that one more time. Select all the keys. Plus equals negative whatever that frame is, and it should give me all of these keys. Oh, they went just on the other side of the... Interesting. Oh, because I was on the last key. That makes sense. So we're going to give a plus equals 400 to offset it. Oh, so close. So close. Let's see what keyframe that starts on. We'll call it 30. We're going to go plus equals negative 30. Thank you for playing. We're doing a little bit of trial and error here tonight. All right, so we got it there. This is about 370 frames. Should link up with what we're doing on the right hand there. Okay, cool. Let's delete all that. Delete that. And we're going to save scene as. This is going to be left hand. Take 2. Okay, so we're back in our main FBX scene, so our main mocap here, and we need to import the hand. So I'm going to do those one at a time here. So we'll go import, and let's find those puppies. It's going to be in the mocap directory, so we'll copy that. Find right hand take 2. There she blows, and we'll do the same for left hand take 2. Perfect. Right, and so that's, you know, like, it's silly to have to go through that process of saving out a Maya file instead of an FBX file, but that's how we get everything imported cleanly, and they seem to line up fairly well. There's a lot more finger data than there is mocap data. No worries, no worries. So now the thing to do is we'll go back to frame -2 or whatever, and we'll find our, see if we can get that T-pose back. There we go. So I will use a simple constraint to get hand R to be parented to parent constrained. Actually, So if I just parent this and then zero it out, we'll try that first and foremost. All right, so I'll break the connections here, zero it out. Sure. We're going to have to kind of art direct this a little bit. So we're going to break the connection there as well, and we'll, you know, I can put it into place here. This is actually, I put it, wait, did I get my left and my right mixed up? I think I did. So we're going to take hand R here and put it actually on the right hand. So we'll parent that, and we'll zero it out once more, right? We'll zero that out. There we go. Feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It did come in on this side, so forgive me for being wrong there. It happens, you know. Me being wrong, at least. That happens quite frequently. All right, so again, same deal. We'll break the connections here. We'll zero this out, and it will snap to the proper place, and then we'll just kind of artfully put it where we think it needs to be here. Those are very precise numbers there. Right, but it really doesn't matter, because once we get into here, we're going to have to change it anyways, even if you had the most accurate numbers, you know. We need to make sure that, and oof, yeah, that was some tight calibration on my part there. We got this clapping action really lines up. Hey, it was a speed run. What do you want? Yeah, so I went really fast with the calibration. I got the action in there. We can come in, we can offset it. I can jump back in the suit anytime I need, and we'll take more capture there. But yeah, we've got what we need here, and I've got a lot of extra stuff on the, you know, fingers. Insert a cut here where I'd spend 2 hours cleaning up all the animation data, the mocap data, and offsetting keys and things like that. We're cutting to the part where we're going to export this over to Unreal now, because this is, you know, it's feeling all right, right? So we got this much data on the hips. I'm going to go ahead and trim to there, and let's pull this back to, let's say 160 frames. There we go. That's where we're going to end it. So this is all we're going to be exporting here. Sweet. So we got finger data, we got mocap data. All of this needs to come into Unreal. One more thing I need to do here in Maya before we start exporting is that I need to add a mesh, right? You can't import a skeletal mesh without some sort of geo attached to it. An FBX, a skeleton by itself, will come in just as, actually I don't even think you can import it just by itself as a skeletal mesh. You would need to be attached to an existing skeletal mesh in the scene. So what I'm going to do is just create a dummy piece of geo, just a simple sphere will do the trick, right? I'll scale that up a little bit, and we will snap that to the root. If I learn how to snap, there we go. We'll snap that to the root joint there, and actually let's do it in T-pose so that I can skin it. And I'm going to grab the hierarchy here of all of the joints, and then my sphere, and we will skin that. We'll go to rigging, skin, bind skin, selected joints, sure, good. Doesn't really matter. So this is going to be dummy geo. I'm going to group this along with my joints here. Actually, this reference joint, one thing I'm noticing, we need a root joint. So I'm going to create another joint here, just snap or put it on the ground there. We'll call it root. This is going to get zeroed out. And then I will take my reference joint and parent it to that root joint. So this now matches sort of a UE skeleton. And then we'll grab these two together, group them, and we'll call this crowd person. So crowd person. Crowd person, go to Unreal. So we're going to export this as an FBX, and we'll just check that animation is checked on. Should be good there. So we will go and see you on the other side. Pull this up in Unreal. Okay, so we're back in Unreal, and I'm ready to import my mocap. So I've saved it out here. This is cheer number 4. I'm going to go ahead and just drag that into the engine here. I've got just some generic Australia scene open here. And make sure that, when you drag it in the FBX options that you see skeletal mesh, import mesh, these are critical to, bringing in a new piece of geometry. Like I said, with the bones there, if you only had exported bones, it would assume that you're exporting animation only, and it would force you to bind to an existing skeleton, which we don't want to do. That would not work. We're going to actually need to make retargeting, retargeting to a new skeleton the way that we want to go here, not binding to one as we import it. So we're importing clean. We have that piece of geo on there that we're going to get rid of. I'm actually not going to use the skeletal mesh at all. I'm just going to retarget it. And then we have import animation checked on, should be good there. And then you can make material and don't make material. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, we're not using that geo, so we'll import that. I forgot to show you an option. I'll do this again just to, as we go through this. As you're importing, there's a setting for importing animation called samples. And if you set a higher set of samples, it will use the, I think it's CPU. I think it uses a more CPU threads to import your animation here, so that this part goes a lot faster. Definitely forgot to do that and check that on here. So we're trying to fill this dead space with pointing out the errors of my ways. But yes, if you turn on sampling there, and I'll delete it and do it again just to prove the point. But if you turn on sampling and set that a little bit higher, it should import a lot faster than it's actually going now. Cool. So let's first take a look at the animation. Yep, came in just fine, all of that stuff, and I will, like I said, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to delete all of this, and we're going to bring in that animation again. Ayo. We'll bring in shear 4, leave all of this set. Here we go, custom sample rate. This is the thing you want to jack up 30, 40, 60. Just make it higher. The sample rate will allow the import process to go much faster because you came right in. So, if you're importing longer animation, this isn't even that long, it's 400 frames, and it took forever the first time. So up your samples. We'll bring that animation right in, so a little hot tip there. Sweet. So we've got our mocap, not great, whatever, but it came in with the geo, so it came in as its own skeletal mesh. It's got its own animation here. So I want to go to the skeleton, and we want to go and set up our retargeting manager so that we can retarget this to, say, Manning, right? So let's look for our retargeting window here. Retarget Manager, you want to check that on. Cool. So now we get this little window here, Retarget Manager, and then we can say we have a humanoid rig. So the Xsens bones, when you import those into Maya out of Xsens, whatever, they're named wrong. They're not, well, not wrong, but they're not named according to Unreal standards. They're named according to Xsens standards. Every TD, every software package, they all have their own naming conventions. I had my own naming conventions. They were wild. So we're going to need to assimilate these so that the Unreal Engine knows what we're talking to, which bone needs to be talking to which bone, right? So our pelvis bone is going to be our reference bone. Actually, it's going to be our hips bone. I lied. And then spine 1, we need to retarget that to spine. So I've done this a couple times, so I've noticed I've gotten into the habit of, doing the trial and error and saying, okay, which one? You got to bounce back and forth. Say spine, that's this bone. Spine 1 is this bone. So we need to line these up. Spine 1 is actually spine. Spine 2 is going to be spine 1, and so on and so forth. And am I going to make you watch me fill this whole thing out? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what the editor thinks about it. Clavicle. We're going to go to left shoulder, and left upper arm is going to be left arm. Left lower arm is going to be left forearm, hand, and actually yes, we do want this. So the hand, this is important. The hand needs to be from the Xsens hand, not the hand that we parented to the Xsens. So this is from our StretchSense Mocap data, and that actually has no animation on it. The StretchSense records the finger data, but not the hand data. The root hand motion is going to come from Xsens. So left hand there, very important that you choose the proper one. We could probably have just reparented each of the fingers to our Xsens hand and deleted the StretchSense hands in there. It is what it is. All right, so moving on, we're going to go to the right clavicle. That's going to be right shoulder, right upper arm, right lower arm, right forearm, and then hand to hand. There we go. Oh, wrong one. I just said not to do it, then I did it. Okay, cool. This is normally where I would stop, but I'm sorry. We need to do the after doing the basic stuff. We can turn on show advanced, and that's where all the finger digit is. And normally I would stop at just the basics, and you can retarget without any of the finger data. But we recorded finger data in this case, so we're going to need to retarget that as well. So let me just fill all the rest of these out, and I'll see you in a second. Oh, right. So I've gone through and I've retargeted or linked up the retargeting possibilities for all of these fingers here. So each finger matches the naming conventions that Unreal is looking for. So spared you the riveting drama of watching me do all of that. But you go through and you check all of this. One other thing that just to mention, that it doesn't really matter because I have a sphere for a mesh here, but if you're using an actual skinned character here and you want to see the preview mesh in your retargeting window for whatever reason, you need to actually say preview mesh and click your preview mesh, and you should get a little pop up. I've already done this, but you should get a pop-up down here that says, this has been applied temporarily. Would you like to save it? Click the save button. Yes, I'd like to save it, and then you can save here, and your preview mesh should be applied. And then you go through, and when you retarget, so you go to retarget anim assets, duplicate anim assets, retarget. You should see your character's mesh here. So I have gone through and I set the retargeting manager up, and if you don't see Manny here, which it should show up, but just in case, if you don't see Manny here as an option, you're going to want to go to mannequin mesh to the skeleton there. You want to do the same thing, just select in the retarget manager, select a humanoid rig. You don't need to fill any of this out because it's already named properly, so it matches, it knows what to look for. It says, hey, that's named the bone I'm looking for, so you're fine there. But you should see Manny there. So we're going to go to our animation asset and we're going to retarget, duplicate anim, retarget. We're going to retarget that onto Manny. I'm already noticing as I'm doing this, there's a discrepancy, right? So if you look at our animation, let me just pop this open really quick. Our skeleton is in T-pose, solid out T-pose. And Manny over here, wherever our retarget manager went, there it is. Manny is in an A pose, right? So we're going to have an offset, right? So what we're going to want to do is modify our pose. Let me cancel this here. We're going to modify our pose, and I believe we rotate first. Whoopsie. Grab the right arm there, pull it down, pull the left arm down, and we're going for about 45ers. We're going to go 45 degrees. Grab this arm again and make sure we're in the -45 ballpark there. We're going to modify pose, use current pose, and save that. And we will try this retarget. You can't see it here, and that's my own fault for not adding an actual piece of geometry other than a sphere. But this should work here. I'm going to change the folder that I'm storing it into the folder I'm currently in. So we'll go change, and I am in, where are we? Mannequin there, animations, okay. So let's retarget that. Boom, I've got a retarget here. There is Manny's animation. Looks like 45 may have been a little much. He's a little tucked in there. But, you know, you can go back and do that again. You should modify your pose, pull the elbows out a little bit, maybe go 40 degrees, 50 degrees or whatever. But it looks like mocap transferred, you know, appropriately. We got some jacked up fingers. You know, again, it looks like I'm going to have to go back and change my fingers here. But that is how you go. From the Xsens suit, plus the StretchSense gloves, tie them all together in Maya, export them out, bring them into Unreal, boom, you retarget everything to a character there. Do I need to clean some stuff up? Yes. But do I have time to do that on a tutorial? No. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for watching this. I'm looking forward to showing you a lot more of this type of work and doing a lot of cool stuff. Cheers.